Luther King.
Everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Trackside, your New England racing magazine. Well, I'm Bill Burton, and I'm going to be your host here for the next half hour. And this week, well, we're going to take you to the American-Canadian Tour Banquet of Champions at Lake Morley in Fairleigh, Vermont, this past Saturday night, where my winter co-host Dan Wolf and producer Steve Barr were there and spoke with 10 of the top award getters.
I maintain my same crew, so that's a big help. And you know, it's going to make it a little easier for the crew and myself. You know, they're going to...
We'll also show you some excerpts of Tom Curley's address and remarks from Steve Saunders of the ACT Coors Company.
We have accomplished a great deal this year. We've grown up a great deal this year. We've learned a lot about ourselves this year.
Well, finally, even though we've experienced another major snowstorm, 9 weeks from this Sunday, yes, 9 weeks from this Sunday, in New England returns the opening of Hudson Speedway. So beginning this week, we will rejuvenate our schedule of coming events. Okay, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, the Trackside crew, we went up to that ACT banquet in Fairleigh, Vermont. We're going to show you everything from that banquet, so stay with us.
Bosch BFCP Rookie of the Year came out strong to start the season. He won the opening event, the Spring Green at Catamount, continued to turn in strong performances all season. His experience in other forms of racing obviously paid off. With the support of car owner David Story, his crew chief Dana Toby, and the entire Snafu crew, he was able to ward off all challenges. Your 87 Bosch BFCP Rookie of the Year, Paul Richardson.
That's right, Georgetown's Paul Richardson, winner of the Rookie of the Year and 2 other awards. Well, Paul, how are your thoughts about that 1987 season?
Well, you know, it was definitely a unique experience, I guess. It was a fresh crew. David Story took on this challenge along with me. A car that we never ran before, you know, a coilover car, and I came from open wheel to a 3,000-pound car, and it was quite a challenge all the way through. But the hardest thing was going to a strange racetrack every week. Never seen it before you get there, and some tracks you'd walk around it and study it, and you know, your crew worked with you tried different tire setups, and you always kind of went with a basic setup, I think. And everybody just worked real hard, you know, the crew, especially nights in the shop, working around the clock, getting ready for another show, swapping motors. You know, it was quite an experience, but we did it.
That was 1987, and it was a good year for you. What about 1988? What do you have for plans?
Well, we were very fortunate in the respect of coming up with a major sponsor this year, the Norseman Resorts out of Algonquin, Maine. They picked me up. They bought me a brand new race car. I maintain my same crew, so that's a big help. And you know, it's going to make it a little easier for the crew and myself. You know, they'll pick up the lodging, which was a lot of money last year, and as far as track expenses, they're picking that up. They're taking care of the car, and you know, I think it'll make things a little easier for us, you know, and take the load off, and concentrate more on racing in each track we go to.
Do you think that your experience, one full year on the Coors Tour and all the different tracks, will bring you close or closer to a championship in 1988?
Well, it's going to make it a lot easier for us in the crew, you know, because we still have our setups from last year, and at the end of the race, if we finish 6th, we had notes of what we would try when we return to that speedway. So I'd say we're going to be in pretty good shape. As far as the championship goes, I don't know if we're ready for that yet, but we'll be in there trying and working hard at it.
Well, we're pretty sure that there'll be no sophomore jinx for that sensational racer from Georgetown. Well, one of the veterans on the tour and one of our favorites is Jean-Paul Cabana. Jean-Paul finished 5th in the final standings, and there was a question if he would return to the tour in 1988. Well, Jean-Paul, we know you have a very heavy accent, but what are your plans for the 1988 season?
Oui, disons que c'est peut-être un peu, ça a pris quelques jours, disons, faire la décision parce que c'était très important. Mais les États-Unis, j'avais des amis aux États-Unis qui m'envoyaient les journaux à peu près toutes les semaines, puis ils marquaient tout le temps qu'il y avait 2 raisons pour que se faire avec Jean-Paul Cabana. Il fallait absolument qu'il reste aux courses. C'était que j'avais jamais gagné une course au Super Speedway à Sanair. C'est à peu près la seule temps que j'ai jamais gagné une course. Plus, la raison, c'est une autre raison, c'est que 493 courses de gagner, j'avais pas de chiffre numéro 5 dedans. Ça me prenait soit 495 ou 500 pour absolument gérer sa course.
Okay, Jean-Paul, now for us English-speaking people, what do you mean?
You know, the newspapers, especially in Canada and around Milton and somewhere in Vermont, they said Jean-Paul Cabana can quit, you know, the racing for 2 reasons. First thing, they said Jean-Paul never won the race on the Super Speedway at Sanair. That's one deal. And the second one, he said, Jean-Paul won 493 races. He don't have the figure number 5 on his win. You know, that's the reason he can't quit. But I need to wait, you know, 495 or 500.
Will you run the entire series in 1988?
Yeah, especially, you know, that's what we try. We try to go for the championship. We made a very good arrangement today with Mr. Prescott. You know, everybody knows we have just one car in the racing, but we don't have enough the big sponsor like somebody in the United States, and we don't have the chance to have the second car. And that's the reason we made a very good ideal today with Mr. Prescott, and we try to run the most it's possible together, not especially in the racing, you know, as soon the green flag is on, that's completely, that's the race, that's all. But outside of that, we try to give him the help, you know, in the mechanic or something, and he gave us the very good help if I need some parts.
Do you think you'll run in 1989 if things go well this year?
It depends, you know. What I figure, you know, I need 7 races more for make 500. And now, you know, I wait about 2-3 months before I made a decision. We make 2-3 meetings with my crew, and especially the women in the crew too. That was so important. You know, the reason if the woman can come at the race, you know, sometimes we have some argument, and that's no good for us. We want to go to the race, you know, with the head clear, and that's important. But I think if we have the chance, you know, this year to win 5 or 6 races, I need to stay for the 1989 for, you know, 1989 for winning another race for make 7.
Well, only 7 wins, definitely not out of the question for Jean-Paul Cabana. Well, 4th place went to Claude Leclerc, who also won his 5th STP title. Now, Claude, what can you do to make 1988 season a better one for you?
For 1988, I would like run better and stronger, and I would like finish first or second in the points, and for that I need the run with the V6 on a small track. For 87 I will have a V6, but for 88 I would like try with a brand new engine V6.
Do you think the V6 will help you on the short tracks enough to get your consistency up even further?
Certainly. On the track like Barry or Ditch Ridge, the V6 is a superior at the end of the race for the last 25 or 35 laps. Especially for the big race, we suppose run 300 laps at Ditch Ridge, and for sure the V6 was the superior.
Do you have any new cars for 1988?
For 88, just change my roll cage, just change the chassis, and I put the whole mechanic parts on my new chassis.
Very good. In the Canadian part of this, you're the odds-on favorite to be the champion over and over again. Is that important in the Montreal press?
Yes, oh yes, it's very important. The top Canadian, the Canadian run on United States circuit. It's very important for the price and the television and the radio. If you run well and finish on the top 5 on the circuit, lots of press and everything.
Well, third place went to legendary Beaver Dragon, and word out, Beaver, is that you may not be running for the points in 1988.
Well, this will be one of the first years that I have never chased points, but I have decided that I'm going to cut back my schedule a little bit, and I am going to plan on running all the big long distance races, definitely the ones at Senair, because Senair has been so good to me. I'll probably go to Lee. Chances are I'll go to Beach Ridge, Thunder Road, because of my sponsor there, Pepsi-Cola. They have some Pepsi-Cola races and stuff, and I'm looking at probably 8 to 10 races this summer. But as far as chasing the whole point system, at this point right now, I don't feel that I'm going to do it.
Are you ready for a successor? Is your son ready to step up into the seat?
Well, my son has. We have purchased a good Tiger car. This car ran last year, and right now this car is all apart. And my son does own it, and we're rebuilding it. And I'm looking forward to seeing him run, because he ran a kind of a limited schedule last year with another fellow's car, and he won one feature race, and of course he's gone the route with motorcycles in the past, and that just scared me to death because he'd be off the ground more than he'd be on it, you know, and he won a lot of races, and I guess he just felt that he went to the top, and now he wants to try the cars, of course, and I want to see him go too. I mean, it's been so good to me, and I know he can do it, and I'm not a bit afraid to see him do that. So I want to help him out and see him go too.
Well, with Beaver support, his son should do very well in his future racing endeavors. We know that here at Trackside. Well, second place, that went to Jamie Obey. And Jamie Obey had a very topsy-turvy season, some great moments in 1987, and then some he'd like to forget. Jamie, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, we really can't look back on the bad things about 1987. We had a great year. You know, we won the Oxford 250, and finishing second behind the great champion that we have isn't anything to be ashamed of. We're looking at 1988 to come back and be even stronger, work a little harder, and hopefully we can win the championship.
What do you think will be the most essential ingredient to finally win that championship that everyone thinks you deserve so well?
Well, I think basically it's experience, you know, running for the championship. We learned an awful lot this year. You know, we had the experience of finding out what kind of pressures there were leading the tour, and you know, running against Robbie, and I think we learned a lot this year, and we've got a wonderful deal with Buick this year, and we're trying some new things, and Ray Dillon's built us a new car, which I think will be first class, and I think it'll give us the edge that we need to win the championship.
And now the champion, for the 5th straight time, yes, the 5th straight time, Robbie Crouch, one of the most personable competitors on the tour, and a great spokesman for ACT Racing. Robbie, what about 1988 for you?
Should be my best season ever. That's a strange thing to say, because I've had some great seasons, but truly, you know, I mean, what else are you racing for but, you know, to collect these championships and to keep winning races. Once you've won one, I mean, that's the only obtainable goal that you have that can equal what you've done in the past. And you know, I don't know what to say, except that everybody asks me, you know, well, doesn't it get kind of boring? And, you know, well, not really, because you try so very hard to win them, even if after you've won it one time, I mean, you keep trying and giving that extra effort to do it, and that's your goal at the beginning of the season. So if you win it, great. If you don't, which I haven't been beaten, so I don't know how I'd feel if I got beat, but I'm sure that the following year I would come back even stronger.
Now this year, 1988, you've got new people added to your crew to help you with the longer races, and rumor of a new and major sponsor that will be coming on board soon?
Well, we do have some new people, and we have the key people back from before. There may be a couple of changes there, but some of the guys aren't really decided what they're going to do. But in the key positions, we're going to have Robert Daring back next year, and his brother Gary, and Mark Kremlich recently with Gardner Levitt's team, and a longtime friend, and he's going to join our team. And of course, we have Marvin Densmore and Carl Osha and Pat Lynch. So we have a pretty potent team, I think. With Robert and Gary Deering, we have, well, we give us at least one of the fastest tire-changing duos, and pit work is one place that we've had some problems in the past. But last year was a good year for us in that respect, but we think we have improved. And yeah, we have someone new coming onto the team. The official announcement has not been made, but it's someone that was with us as an associate last year, and they have taken over the position of the major sponsor for us that Allen Lumber has held in the past. And Allen Lumber has assumed the associate's role, so it's kind of just a role reversal, and basically the same people involved as before. And the engine builder is Carl Wagner of Automotive Research in Wisconsin, and we're running Dillon chassis again, and most of the other people are back as well. So.
Robbie, if the 25 or 30 other Coors Tour drivers were all in the room and made you answer the question, what would you have to do to take the championship away from Robbie Crouch? Where do you think they'd have to work hardest?
Well, that's a good question, because having been in that position to be, you know, I lost a couple of championships, well, one specifically to Beaver that was very close, and then to Dick McCabe a couple of times, and McCabe had a couple of incredible seasons, like I don't think will ever be matched again as far as consistency, and McCabe finished I think every single race, with maybe the exception of one in 1982 in the top 10. And I had a heck of a good season. I mean, for most normal years, I would have easily won a championship, but because I was incredibly consistent that year too. But so I think most of it is timing and getting the right personalities together, and having things go your way. And of course, you've got to have good equipment, and equipment failures cost you an incredible amount of money. So you have to have good, strong, fresh equipment. It takes a lot of things, and we've got some strong teams that are running for the championship next year. So you never really know for sure what the key ingredient is, except possibly after it's gone.
Robbie Crouch, a great champion, and again the man to beat in 1988 as he goes for his 6th straight title. Amazing, amazing year for him. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to some more of the top award getters at the ACT Tour Banquet. Stay with us.
Tired of the same old kind of television? Well, we've got an alternative. Hello, I'm Jake Edmond, and I hope that you'll join me on Other Points of View when I talk with some of the finest thinkers and writers of our time, talking about some of the most important issues of our time. The Vietnam War, the Challenger explosion, the press, does it do its job, women's rights, among many other topics that we'll explore on Other Points of View.
Perhaps the highest honor anyone can receive is to be voted the Sportsman of the Year by his peers. This driver had some hard luck in 1987, but through it all, through the wrecks and the damaged race cars, and the incidents that were none of his own doing, he always had a smile, he always had a good word, and a bit of encouragement for someone that perhaps was even a little further down than he was from night to night. For that reason, he's a very fitting recipient. The 1987 Sportsmanship Award winner, Carlton Roby.
Carlton Roby, 1987 Sportsman of the Year. Carlton, did you ever think you'd be up for this type of award when you began the season last year?
Well, really at the beginning of the season, I never even gave it any thought. I tried to go into the season with the best attitude I possibly could. And as the season went along, I had some bad times, and I caused some of them, and some of them were caused upon me. And I did the best I could to keep my cool and be a sportsman like I was, and just be an all-around good guy. You know, I took some bumps and I gave some bumps, and no one gave me no trouble, so I didn't give anybody any trouble. I tried my hardest.
Well, that's always what counts when you race, to do your very best, and you were rewarded by your peers for that. How about 1988? Have you got new equipment, updates, improvements in your team that will help you to get higher into the Coors Tour point standings?
In 1988, we're really looking forward to a good year. I have a brand new Latat chassis coming. I should get delivery on it by the 1st of February. My sponsors in Sierra Associates are going to stick with me again for another year. And I picked up a new sponsor out of Manchester, New Hampshire, Sundin Lumber. It seems like the lumber companies do pretty good on this tour. And Bob Sundin has a lot of interest in me. And I'm looking forward to some top 5 finishes and maybe a top 10 finish in the points for 1988.
Well, obviously a very popular choice with the audience. Well, another driver who received a popular award was Rick Craven, who won the Ricky Crouch Memorial Award. Rick, what are your thoughts about this prestigious honor?
It's really a great feeling. My goal was to be accepted by the tour drivers, the tour members, and I think by getting an award like that shows that I was accepted. The Ricky Crouch Award has super good meaning to it. I'm just really proud to have been presented the award.
Now, over the course of this winter, you've made some major improvements in your team. You've got some new people, you've got your equipment updated. Do you think you'll be able to run up in the top 5 or top 3 in 1988?
I really do. I really feel confident, Dan. Last year, with a big transition of coming into this type of a series, and I was really low-key and really mellow, but I really feel as though we're really putting a great effort into what we're doing this year. I think we have the personnel. I think we're going to have the equipment. I think we got the drive, the incentive, everything to put together to lead us in that direction. So I'm really geared up for it.
We should note that over the last half of the season, Rick Craven was very ill, and he's just recovering, so we wish him the best for 1988. Well, Haverhill's Tom Quinney proved that he could run with the best of the tour. Tom, what are your plans for 1988?
1988, we're planning on running the full tour, and we're going to run for the Rookie of the Year and all the other things that go along with it. You know, there's just so many programs that they have going, and they make it worth your while as long as you get a good start.
Have you got the financial backing that it will take to have the good equipment week to week?
Well, A1 Truck and Trailer is, you know, working his heart out, and Billy down there, he's, you know, just doing the best he can. You know, it'd be nice to have a little, you know, sponsorship here and there. We've got a bunch of programs that we're working on. We haven't got anything definite right now, but we are working on things. But, you know, it may be a little bit of struggle right at the start, and hopefully when things get going, we'll, you know, get squared away and we'll have a good season.
Finally, we thought we'd get some comments from Paul Richardson's 1987 car owner, Dave Story. Dave, we know you accomplished what you wanted to do in 1987, but we understand there's some changes ahead of you in 1988.
Well, we're going to plan on running a full schedule for the Rookie of the Year again. I'm going to have Eric Hudson drive for me, and we're going to try to run a full schedule and go for the Rookie of the Year again and try to repeat.
Do you think a driver that young will be able to pick up the pace and run with the experienced and qualified guys on the Coors Tour?
I think if we can be patient and we can work together as the year goes along, that it should come the second half, we should get better after he gets used to driving this type of car.
In 1987, you had extremely good luck with equipment. Your mechanicals lasted race after race, and the cars weren't, for the most part, crashed and banged. Do you have enough equipment to run the season again?
Well, I think so. You know, we got 2 of everything, and we learned a lot in '87 what we didn't have. we doubled up on. I've cut back. I'm going to run the same car as I run in '87. I'm just refreshing and have two of everything and planning on, with Eric, you know, we're going to have some, you know, tough luck, you know, through the experiences, but hopefully with patience and stuff that it'll carry through for the long haul and we'll, you know, be successful in the end. That's what we're looking for, is the end result of the end of '88.
Have you got your 1988 sponsorship programs under control? Do you have all of your sponsors on board, or are you still looking for associate sponsors?
Still looking for sponsors. I'm the main sponsor of my business, is DHS Homes. I'm looking to try to establish a base before I really get real ambitious into trying to get a sponsorship, a major sponsor. But you're always looking in automobile racing for a sponsor.
Well, Steve Saunders is the ACT Coors representative for auto racing, and so here are some of his comments he made about Coors' support of the tour.
I'd like to pass on my thanks to Tom and all his staff. Probably as far as sponsor sanctioning body relationships, the deal we have between our brewery in Golden, Colorado and the folks out here in Vermont is about as far apart as you can get. I've got a jillion things to do back in Colorado, and I'm the only one that has any clue what's happening out here in Vermont, and I don't have time to do anything. I truthfully don't have much time to spend on the tour. Thank the Lord, Tom Curley and his staff have the time to do it, and I want to thank them, Darla, John Casey, Marjorie, the whole crowd. They take care of business for me, and that's why we can keep coming back year after year. They're a wonderful crowd, and they do a lot of business for us, and I appreciate it.
Well, Tom Curley is president of the American Canadian Tour. Now let's hear some of his comments to the overflow crowd at the banquet.
Spirit takes us to 1988. Schedule's great. Coors, Chevrolet, Racers Auto Supply goes out. Stores in Massachusetts and Maine, they buy a brand new fifth wheel, official parts supplier of ACT. They'll be at every race in the United States for us. You need parts, they'll have them stocked. If they haven't got them, they'll guarantee you within 1 week they'll have it at the track next week. Players, cigarettes, Imperial Tobacco of Canada, coming on board. I worked for 10 years to get cigarettes and robbers. I didn't have much of a chance. I think you all know where that cigarette money goes. Players is on board. Bill Steen Shocks, John Casey just cut a deal, $36,000. Certificates, $1,500 a race for you people. Bill Steen Shocks for 1988. Sunoco new champions, $15,000 to our middle, our strength, our guts. Now you get $40,000. Tell me this tour is not looking wrong. That's 1988. The light of my dream still flickers, believe me. I hope you still believe. I hope you can find it in your souls and your spirits to still believe in what Bobby Kennedy said when he eulogized John Kennedy. Try to still believe that some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things. Still, never were. Say, why not?
Well, from Dan and Steve's comments to me, a very upbeat and exciting banquet. A banquet that left many people in attendance realizing why the 1987 season was so successful. A success that was a result of everyone who participated and the strong and positive leadership of the Coors Tour. Now let's look at our upcoming schedule of events. Well, that's about all we have time for this week. Next week, we're going to bring you a potpourri of segments, a few that we had to put temporarily on the shelf, including highlights of the Eddie West testimonial, the Star Banquet, and comments from the NEMA Banquet. Also, we hope to have either Bob Weber and/or Russ Conway here in the studio to give us some insight on the Twin Speedway Championships being planned for the 1988 season for the Lightning Racing Division. So stay with us for that. I'm Bill Burt. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and see you at the races. Bye-bye.